fellow painters. Welcome to Driftwood's homemade painting tutorial series. Today, I'm going to be tackling Vercingetorix from Warlord Games' SPQR Gold Heroes expansion. There are 4 different heroes in the box, and I'm going to be painting this one up in the same design as you will see. I had a lot of fun with this miniature, and I hope you all do too. Let's get started. Assembly is fairly short on this miniature. It is made of resin like the cavalry, which means no spraying is necessary. I really like this, finding it useful to get straight into the painting. You should take a mini knife to the figure to remove any resin runoff and smoothen out the unnecessary additions. You'll want to do this for the shield as well as the base. I've used one of the larger bases left over from the cavalry, but it is not entirely important which one you choose. The bases that come with the heroes are circular. Bonding is also short, only needing to stick the figure to the base of your choice. Leave the shield spare for later. We can now start to paint the miniature. We're going to start the base colours with the biggest of them all, Thousand Suns Blue. You want to add a little water to most of your base paints to help with the application, and this is no different. Apply this here to the cloak on both its front and back, as well as the skirt and sleeves. For his trousers, we're going to attempt a checkerboard pattern, much like on the previous episode. Use the side of the brush as you can to create the first few squares. Don't worry about the design being too sloppy, as the Fenrisian Grey can help to clean it up later. Make sure you don't continue this design onto the bandaged areas. We will then use Fenrisian Grey to fill in the details of the checkerboard pattern, more as a placeholder for the later highlights. You can use this time to neaten up anything you aren't that happy with. Sandry dust provides a good base for the hair of the miniature, as well as the sheepskin fluff near his pelvis. We should use Bugman's Glow on the skin tones, which there is not much of on this figure. You want to make sure that his chin is painted, and don't worry about painting over the mustache, as we can fix this later on. Retributor armor can be used on all of the golden armor sections, as well as on his hilt and the scabbard on both ends. Lead Belcher can be used on the silver area, near the wings on his head and the sword. Corax White should be placed on the bandages around his arms only. Finally, Dryad bark on the shoes can finish off the base colours. Moving on to shading and shadows, we want to apply a layer of Reikland flesh shade over the skin tones. Make sure that it is properly spread and not pooling in any sections. No water needs to be added for these shades. For all of the golden sections, as well as his hair and fleece, I have shaded in Seraphim Sepia. Take care around anywhere that you have already painted. Null can also be used on the white areas, as well as the silver. Make sure that it is painted underneath as well. I've also used it on the shoes and the rock to provide a little more shadow. Drakenhof Nightshade can provide shadows to all of the blue areas. Make sure you spread it evenly and over the top of the leg bandages. These shades can be left for 30 minutes to dry, and then we can move on to highlights and detailing. We're going to start with White Scar. This should be used for the start of the eyes and the tops of only the bandages on his arm. We can also now use it to finally highlight the bandages on his legs, and we can make any revisions or changes later on as need be. can highlight the gold, aiming most of the highlights to be on the raised surfaces. We can build these up on both the helmet and the chest plate where it is the smoothest. A little Stormhost silver can be placed on the upper edge of the sword, and then on the smooth areas of the chest plate and the helmet, to give it that silvery gold look you see on the box art. Once there is less on your brush, you can run it along the wings with the side, like a dry brush. Abaddon black can fill in the pupils of the eye. Any mistakes made to the eye can be fixed with Cadian flesh tone, which we will also use to highlight the raised areas of the skin, like the nose and the cheeks, as well as the fingers on the hands. Don't forget to highlight the chin. Avalan Sunset can now be used on the hair, as the skin is all done. Place them on the mustache and the braids on either side, as well as a thin line on the upper side of the hair running across. Dawn yellow can then highlight over this yellow, by placing a thin amount on just the sharpest points of the hair. This should be used in small amounts for the best effect. Calgar blue starts the highlights for only the cloak, running it over everywhere that is raised, leaving the recesses dark blue. Make sure to get both the front and the back. Fenrisian grey can again be used to highlight just the sharpest folds of fabric on only the cloak and only on its upper side. We can now also use this to fill the original lighter squares on the checkerboard pattern, as well as any of the areas in between the bandages. Sotek green serves as a good base highlight for any of the blue areas on just the arms and the skirt, as well as the darker squares of the trousers. Temple Guard blue should then only be used to highlight the skirt, only at its strongest folds, as well as on the arms, but the trousers should be left alone now. A small amount of Gawthor brown can highlight the rims of the leather shoes. Ushabti bone could be used as the first highlight on the fleece, trying to avoid painting it into the recesses and making sure you get a good even coat. Don't forget under the arm. Screaming Skull ends the highlights, placed mainly on just the tops of the fleece and the wool. The shield design is a little different from the box art, just to provide a simpler approach. We have first coated the entire front in corn red, and then drawn on the checkered design. To do this, it is much like the eyes, as we want a lot of white scar on the brush, and are looking to attack it from the side, using the embossment as a placement guide. If you draw from the inside to the out, you can get the square shape that you want, as the brush will naturally go into this position. Once it is set out, add another coat to neaten up and strengthen the white. A bad and black can then be used to fill in the square space, again using a couple of coats. Once you are happy with the design, you can draw 2 lines above and below using Evil Sun's Scarlet. Fill in the boss and the gold with Retributor armor, and a small highlight of Auric armor gold. If you'd like, you can add some dryad bark to the back, and stick it on, to then move to the landscaping stage. Landscaping here is fairly simple. We just want to place some Vallejo acrylic earth texture around the rocks, using our Citadel texture tool. and make sure you let it dry for 30 to 45 minutes. After it is dry, we can dry brush some Gawthor brown on top and add a grass tuft from the War Painter's self-static grass sets. This should complete the miniature. Thank you for watching. Any questions you have, please comment below, and I will do my best to respond to them. Keep an eye out for future videos on other figures soon.